here in the streets of Johannesburg once again. Ntomane, sino blessing namhlanje apha number 1 beat of a sensational upcoming jazz artist, soulful artist. Ngilandeleni sizoba spirituality ne jazz sidibana kanjani kuyo. So thank you so much for having us and hosting us and welcoming us into your beautiful home. So can you please tell us who is Blessing? We all want to know.
Alright, my name is Letsoara, and I grew up in a very small town called Valkom in the Free State. I grew up under a very religious family, my father being a bishop, so my sense of music came from church.
From church?
Yes.
Wow. And I want to cut you quickly. So at what age and at what point did you know that music is your thing? Because I know everybody says when they grow up, it's a normal thing. I want to be on TV. I want to be a musician. I want to be a star. For you, when was it?
Music for me is sort of like a way of expression, okay? And growing up as a young kid, I found myself interacting with music. I started drumming when I was 7 years old. Then I started really getting into expressing myself through music. So beyond the music, I've always been an artistic type of person, and I've always found ways to express myself. Music was an outlet, and then I spent a lot of my early teenage years until now expressing myself through music, specifically playing bass guitar. So I learned a lot of that self-taught in both drums and bass. So that was my experience.
Wow, that's amazing. So I understand, like you said, music is from church. So like I want to know to you, why jazz specifically? You could have gone and done gospel, so why jazz?
Well, I realized while I was busy learning music and learning the basics that jazz sort of gives you a basic understanding, sort of like a skeleton of how music can progress. I mean, a lot of genres today came from jazz. You see, even the gospel that we play today, you learn the basics from jazz. You understand? So as I was growing up, I met a couple of really good guys in my city who introduced me to jazz, because I was playing gospel for a very long time, and then they started introducing me to jazz, and it gives you a deep understanding of the basics of music. That's how I got to really understanding African soul, African jazz, and exploring many of these great icons that we've seen come up over the years.
So now a quick one. You're very young to be a jazz artist. So like your peers, how about one, like as we know in our days, it's hip hop, the in thing, house, whatever that's out there. So when your peers see you, do they recognize, do they relate with the kind of music that you're doing? Do you get a lot of support, or is it?
Alright, so in my experience with my friends and my peers, there's always been a resistance, okay? They'll say, no, that's boring, that's music you sleep to, or you understand. But they really probably didn't explore or grow up in that type of environment, okay? So to some extent, there is some sort of resistance where they don't really understand where I'm coming from when I speak about jazz artists and I talk about African jazz and so forth. So there has been a resistance, but I've always been open to any other genre. So I listen to different genres. I don't just listen to jazz, you know. I listen to all this pop culture, hip hop, all sorts of type of music. That also gives me a better perspective. So when I also apply some of the things that I do in jazz songs, then it can also relate to people who are in this new
era.
Yeah, new era.
Okay, so with that said, I want us to go into this much more deeper. After all, we're talking about spirituality here. So schoolers, because I understand, like you say, jazz is the basic of all music, of all genres. So which keys hit a certain emotion, invoke a certain vibe to a person? Which keys, school me, because I don't know.
So that's a very interesting question, and I think the best way to answer this question is to maybe give it to you from my perspective as a bass guitarist. Alright, it's very difficult to tell you specifically which keys you play, but there's a numbering system we use in communicating tracks and progressions, and how songs go and how songs flow. Okay, so there's a numbering system we use. So in my experience playing bass, I've realized that a lot of gospel songs that sort of ignite in some sort of connection and emotion have, according to the numbering system that we use, have a 1-4-5 approach. Okay, maybe I'll get to show you what that looks like.
Yes,
okay?
so I can understand.
Yes, you see, so it has like a 1-1-4-5 sort of approach. That's a basic approach to a gospel track. Okay, and that's what evokes the emotions. I mean, gospel music in churches is about the experience, but a lot of it is about the songs and the sound that comes, that evokes that emotion, that puts you into a spiritual trance. The same thing with jazz music. Okay, there are certain types of songs that have a progression that touch you in certain parts. So the bass, for example, is something that's related to the heart. It's sort of like the heart of the song. Any song that doesn't have a bass sort of feel, haina vibe, haina groove. So the bass moves with the heart. That's why it locks with the kick drum beat. And as African people as well, like we have that rhythm because that beat is always connected to who we are. Understand? So that's how it sort of connects with the spiritual side.
As you say, it's nyayifila ni awukayidlali mara sekuyawudla heart bass
Sure.
and the drums.
Sure.
So with that said, so when you're gonna produce, when you're gonna write your music, what do you do? Do you first pray? Because we understand some people bayagumsamo, others say they dream about their songs, others say even when I walked around, it just came in my vision. So how does it work with you?
Right, so my experience throughout jazz and music, I've always played on other artists' songs. Okay, so I'll put down a bass guitar on a track, or I'll play with gig with artists. A lot of them were in the jazz and gospel genres. So when we did have a studio session, or when we do have a studio session, where now we're supposed to play and produce music, what we always did, or what I always encouraged, it's not long ago we had a show in December, and in that rehearsal, what I did is I sat the guys down, everybody there, because it's a collective thing. Okay, as much as you might be an individual artist, but all these ideas need to come together and produce something beautiful. You understand? So what I would suggest, I would say, gents, let's sit for a moment in silence. Okay, I'm going to say a short prayer, and if maybe you want to join me in prayer, that's wonderful. Okay, and then we just have a nice little 3-4 minute moment where we just in the moment, okay, and experience the energy in the room. And from there, then we go out and we start our rehearsals. Even before the show started, that show that we had that moment. So it's very important to be present of what is about to happen, what kind of impact you're about to give, what kind of value you're about to give. So that's basically what.
I bet Nana, blessing is very deep. I understand why you're so into jazz. Let's go back to your childhood with your parents. Were they really supportive of you saying what I can imagine you grew up in a church, gospel, and then now you're telling me what you want to do jazz. Did you get support? Because most of us in the artist industry, most of our parents have a support at all.
Alright, so my parents are also musicians. Okay, so my dad is a gospel artist. He's had his albums, quite a few albums, I think 3 or 4 albums or so over his career. So he's always supported the music side of me as well. Okay, that's why I also sort of tuned into it very, very quickly. So regardless of what genre it is, there has never really been a problem, whether you're listening to jazz or whatever, there's never really been a problem, as long as I understood the message that comes from the music that I listen to and how it connects to me. Okay, so I was always wary of music that would maybe evoke wrong emotions inside of me. You understand? So they knew that when it comes to music, I'm alright. The only challenge was maybe trying to sort of make a living out of the music. So how do you actually make a living out of this thing? So I really needed to connect the skills that I've acquired with this love I have for music and create something out of that. Okay, and that's basically what I'm doing and focusing on.
So your dad is the ultimate Manasseh Letsoara. So no wonder, it's genetic. Music is at home, it's a vibe, it's official. Ngokuke, there's something that we do here at home. Ne? You can't tell me you're an artist and you don't give us a piece. Can you just freestyle, play us a little something so we know who you are and what you're about in terms of hearing it in the sound, of course.
Definitely, we can do that. Well, that's just, that is 145 I was talking about. A lot of gospel songs would take this 145 sort of sequence, right? So usually the numbering system is basically the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So 145 would be something within that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So gospel songs would go something like this. It would be, for example, that's basically it.
Wow, wow, wow. I am in a trance, like I'm in space. Interview, like, what more are we asking for? I think with you playing right now, we can't even tap into it in words. It just explains everything there is to know. Everything there is to know. My spirit, guys. Artuality, we give you live performance. You didn't even have to go anywhere. Right here during COVID. Well, Artuality, you need to tune in, guys. Where can you get a live performance like this? Epic, beautiful. Your Twitter handle, Instagram, where can we get you?
You can find me on Instagram, but it's the name of my company, which is Strats Connect. So at Strats Connect on Instagram, at Strats Connect on Facebook. My personal account on Facebook is Letsoara, but you can also find me on LinkedIn as well, and you'll find everything you need to know about who I am, what I do, and what I really represent on those platforms.
A quick one on your company. Do you accept artists? I think you just made me want to be an artist. After that, I want to be an artist. Yeah.
So basically what we do is that we digitally brand artists. You understand? So a lot of artists in whatever industry are struggling to brand themselves digitally. So we use digital skills, digital marketing skills to brand artists, whatever genre that you use. So we help you sort of market your music on a digital platform. You see, so if you want to be an artist or you're an artist, that's what you'll come to us for.
Lovely, guys. We did not only get beautiful music. Now you know where to go for your digital branding. Since Artuality, we're gonna see you again next time. It was a beautiful show. Please forgive me, I'm lost in space. Bye.